All right, what's up guys? Well, it is a dreary kind of day out there, so I'm hanging out in the garage trying to get a couple of things done, get some stuff cleaned up, but wanted to make a quick video today just to share a lesson that I learned recently that I think most people who are into the whole automotive DIY space already know, but sometimes you have to actually go through it to be reminded of it. And that is sometimes, man, it is better just to spend a little bit more money for the right tool than trying to make it happen with the tools that you already have. That doesn't necessarily mean that you always need top of the line tools, but again, sometimes when it is, a frustrating project or something like that, it is better just to spend a little bit more money for the right tool. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about here. Okay, so recently I had to replace the crank pulley in my Supra, right? So anybody who's ever had to do that or has ever seen it done knows that trying to get that bolt loose is not easy. So this is what it looks like. It is a monster of a bolt, right? So this thing is 22 millimeters for my car. It is huge, and it is torqued down with an insane amount of force. So this is what I was trying to work with here. I have this 24-inch breaker bar, and this is great. It's what I usually use to break the lug nuts on my wheels, and this little shallow 22 mil socket. I tried to even add the handle to my floor jack to this as sort of like a cheater bar to get a little bit of extra leverage. But the problem is that when you are trying to rotate the bolt on the crank, right? Even if you have the car in gear and all that good stuff, it's still trying to turn over the engine, right? So you're losing a lot of that rotational force that would be going into the bolt as it's, again, trying to turn the engine. So I saw a video of a guy who tried to do the exact same thing on the exact same car, and he used a chain wrench. Now, the one that he was using, I saw you can get it from Snap-on. It's not a Snap-on branded tool, but it's priced like one, and it's very expensive. So I was like, you know what? Let me try to go with something that's a little bit more reasonable. This is super heavy duty. It's very heavy. Problem with this, though, is that the chain was actually too big, so these bearings were resting on the lip of the pulley, and so it was still free spinning underneath of it, even with it braced up against this. But not to say that getting the more expensive version would have definitely been a slam dunk here, just saying that I was going with what I already had and tried to buy a cheaper version of a tool that I saw to work for somebody else that did not do the job. So what did actually work? That is what I should have bought in the beginning. Now, fortunately, I didn't spend a ton of time fighting with it, but this is what I should have done from the beginning. And by the way, this is not an advertisement for these tools necessarily, or even these exact ones. Sort of the broader message of sometimes it is worth just buying the better tools. And so first off, this is an actual pulley holder. So you hook this up to the crank pulley, and then you got this 3/8 inch adapter here that you can use a socket wrench or a breaker bar or something like this, plug this in, brace it against the ground, and it guarantees that the crank isn't gonna turn, or the pulley isn't gonna turn while you're trying to break the bolt, right? So then have an actual proper deep impact socket here, 22 millimeter. But this was the golden child. So this is a 36-inch breaker bar. I picked this up from Harbor Freight. I think it's Icon branded, whatever, it doesn't matter. Point is that this thing is super sturdy. So I'm sure under certain conditions you might be able to get this one to bend, but this one worked like a charm. So between having this hooked up and this, it made breaking that bolt an absolute breeze. I think all told, once everything was hooked up, it took maybe less than a minute or so for that to get done. Got it. Yes. That was worth whatever we paid. And that brings me to the reinstallation process. So up to this point, I have been using this AC Delco digital torque wrench, which I love, does a great job. But the problem with that one is that it only goes up to 149 foot-pounds, and for this bolt, again, it needs to be 239. So I had to get a better torque wrench. And again, this is not an advertisement for Icon. Quite frankly, there's a ton of them out there that are really good, but solid click type torque wrench, this one did the trick. So just a little sort of reminder out there for anybody else doing the, into the DIY space, if you're doing mods, maintenance, whatever it is, even your own detailing, because there's plenty we can get into about using the right tools in that department. But in this case, trying to get away with this, having this bar bend all over the place, was never gonna work. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to run out and buy the tool. You could just rent it, but it was more to the point of using the right tool. And right in the middle of filming, tire rack guy showed up. But That's all good, because those rear tires, man, they were spent. You ever see the inside of one of these trucks? This is awesome. Mount and balance your tires right in the truck. All right, guys, well, that is all I got for this one. Again, just wanted to make this quick video to share that story and sort of just serve as a reminder of like, you know what? When you need the right tools, it's definitely gonna be worth it if it costs you a ton of time and aggravation. So anyway, comment below, let me know, have you ever been in that situation? Have you ever tried to get something done with the very wrong tools only to realize that you needed the right ones? And in the meantime, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.